Good morning, gang. Happy Tuesday morning. Okay, chugging on through. Everybody's kind of getting ready for this, at least northern half of the country, getting ready for this cold blast that's coming up, right? We're going into winter. Christmas is a couple of weeks away. And we've all kind of chilled a little bit, right? It's like, okay, there's not a whole lot we've got to concern ourselves with. Christmas is coming up. I'm going to my office Christmas party, or we're baking cookies. The neighbors are getting together. We're talking about travel plans with the family, and we let our guard down, right? I mean, to give you this is just a silly idea. In the last 36 hours or so, the biggest topic of conversation that I keep seeing on Twitter is everybody complaining about Notre Dame not making the college football playoffs. That's the big worry right now, okay? We let our guard down this time of year. It's normal. We want to celebrate happy stuff. I mean, that's just human nature. We want to celebrate Christmas, whether the religious side of it or the commercial side of it or some combination of both. You're probably, like me, okay, doing something instead of your normal playlist in your car. You're listening to Christmas music. You're trying to think of happy times. How many stories have you told friends or your spouse or whatever, an old Christmas story? Oh, back when I was a kid, I remember this one Christmas. We all do it, okay? We long for good times and happy memories. How many of you since Thanksgiving, so let's say the last couple of weeks, have told stories about where you were on 9/11? I'm going to bet nobody. Okay. It's not a happy story. It's not gee, you know what? This was a really cool day, even if it was your birthday or your wedding anniversary or your kid was born or whatever. You say 9/11 and instantly everybody's head goes to New York City. Okay. I'm not one for conspiracy theories. I'm certainly not one for fear porn. You guys know that. But sometimes there are, I don't want to say stories because nobody wants to cover it. That's the reason I'm going to do it. There's information out there that the potential, I'm not guaranteeing anything here, okay, for something bad to happen is front and center. There's a lot of backroom intelligence being reported out there about a large-scale terrorist attack coming on the United States somewhere between the 14th and the 20th. That's next week, okay? Right before Christmas. The intel out there is saying that 8 or 10 cities will be targeted. Smaller cities, though, not going after New York or Dallas or Chicago. These are cities with populations of somewhere between 100 and 500,000 people. Okay? This is what the threat assessment out there is like. Think about your local metropolitan area. Is that your target? Is that the size of your city? For me, yeah, that's right. Knoxville fits right in the sweet spot of that, okay? The idea here is for attacks, more or less, on smaller cities because there won't be the response because there isn't the amount of personnel, equipment, organizations, or whatever to respond to it. The other part of the threat assessment is taking over the hospitals, which is critical in case something happens. We're not talking about flying airplanes into buildings at this point. Maybe this is IEDs at a football game, college football games, for example. We got a lot of those coming on right now, right? It's what everybody wants to talk about. Nobody really wants to talk too much about the security at them. I mean, just imagine what the response would be if there was some sort of, I don't care if it's some little bowl game, okay? The ones where a college team will actually show up, right? That maybe is, the stands will hold 60,000 people, right? Imagine something happening there. That's only, 20 times the people that died on 9/11, okay? All centered in one tight-knit area. You're not going to take out an entire stadium. I mean, unless, of course, they big old jet airliner again. But take out a corner of it. This is what people have, we kind of forget this time of year. That, everything's going to be good. It's the holidays. Nobody wants to do anything. Look at all the stories you're seeing, especially over Europe right now, about you want to use the racial term, terrorists, if you want to figure out who I'm talking about here, because last time I checked, we're not seeing a whole lot of, Rastafarian people blowing up planes. All right, so we can pretty much focus who the problem is here. Running around Europe screaming, Christmas isn't halal, music, or not halal, or Christmas music is haram, Christmas is haram. You can't have this going into Christmas markets in Europe. You don't think that's going to happen here? We're going to see one. That I'd be willing to put money on, that there's going to be some sort of assault, maybe small, maybe it's burning another church. I mean, hell, we see one of those a week. But we need to be ready, be aware, watching. And it's funny, if you go back to post 9/11, okay, and this really sucked for anybody who's of Arabic descent. I'll admit that clearly, but I'm sorry, your track record for the last 50 years ain't been that good. When you remember what your attitude was seeing somebody on the street or in the store or whatever days after 9/11. You walked on the other side of the sidewalk. You got away. You side-eyed for a long time until that person was no longer nearby and a threat. Congratulations. You've ramped that up again. Because the Ilhan Omars, the Rashida Tlaibs, the Pramila Jayapals of the world, I mean, granted, she's Indian, okay, are screaming that we need to conform to their ways of doing things. Islam will enter every house. Yeah, you may enter mine, you're going to leave in a body bag. That's your choice. But we need to be extra vigilant because the threat assessment right now is that from roughly this coming weekend through Ramadan, which is mid-February, that is going to be the prime season for attacks. Call it racial profiling, call it whatever you want to call it. It's not like there's a peaceful track record going back to, I don't know. You go back 1972, you go back to the Olympics, 9/11, 1993, anything going on now. this isn't a new phenomenon. This has been going on now for generations. And the more interesting part is, in the United States at least, we've got a big worry about immigrants, right? Illegals. I'm going to give you this as a thought. It's not the first generation immigrants, the immigrant themselves, that you've got to worry about. It's their kids, the ones who are U.S. citizens, the ones who've been radicalized online. They've learned whatever they need to about their satanic religion through their mosque, but then they get online and there's all the radicalization there. Those are the threats. You talk about military-age males coming into the country, you need to look at the military-age males who are here, who think they're protected. You can't deport me. I'm an American citizen. I was born here. You're right. And they're not as much on the radar. Those are the people that should be highly on the radar, whether they are or not by the JTTF, we don't know. It's not like, I mean, again, as I've said to you guys many times, 90% of what's going on in the world, we don't know. Because if we all did, we'd all be basket cases. Our job is to be vigilant, to be observant, and to be protective of ourselves and everybody around us. When this happens, if this happens, any sort of attack, and you're in the vicinity, there's going to be panic, chaos, confusion. And the one who's going to have to help others is the one who is prepared, which chances are means you. You're going to have to be the voice of reason. You're going to have to be the defense. You're going to have to be the organized person, the one who isn't going spastic, going, oh my God, what do we do? What do we do? What do we do? You're the one who's going to have to suddenly take the command decision and say, everybody, there. That's safe. Because if you've got your head on a swivel when you're walking into the Christmas market or the pick something, going to view the Christmas lights, not only are you looking at those things, but you're like, okay, where's the safest place to be? Because this is how we train ourselves to do things. 99.9% of the time, it never happens that observant skill you have gets used. But that 0.1% of the time that, oh my God, I'm glad I looked at this ahead of time, could save your life, your family's life, your neighbor's life, your friend's life, or a whole bunch of other people. Be very, very vigilant in the next week for sure. But certainly don't let your guard down over the holidays thinking, oh gee, everything's happy. Nothing's changed. It's just if we are aware that our mindset's changed, so have the bad guys, and they're going to take advantage of it. Pinball out.